What's up, y'all? It's that time, workout time. I like to make these videos when I'm in the parking lot, getting ready to get my shit and get in there and get after it. And the thought for today is that there is something worth striving for. There is a goal worth attaining. There are hierarchies of value. The young kind of romantic, college idea that, everything is everything and everybody's equal and everybody should just be allowed to, lay in a field of sunflowers and enjoy their life, and, that money and, aggression and competition are all aberrations, and that we need to live in a, communist utopia is bullshit. And as soon as you grow up and you see that there's no such thing as equal outcomes because there's no such thing as equal effort, you realize that certain people deserve to win because they choose to give more of themselves. Certain people work harder than other people. Certain people are more physically strong. Certain people are just smarter than other people. Like, I recognize that I ought not to tell somebody who is more intelligent than me what to think. If anything, I should learn from those people. We in the West are kind of in the time of social upheaval because, we've got dinosaurs in Congress that don't know how to use a computer, and they're making, decisions for the rest of us. All the while, you've got a whole generation of millennials and, Gen Zers that are angry. They feel like they got the short end of the stick in the kind of social agreement. So few people can afford a house, and that kindling is often used by charlatans and leftist politicians to tell you that, yeah, you don't need to buckle down. You don't need to work hard. You don't need to, adhere to a behavior pattern that will move you ahead. Government will solve that. We'll just take from the rich and give to the poor. It sounds awesome. Screw those, thieves and liars and cheats. It's the young and the virtuous that ought to, win over in the end. Well, the problem is you can't incentivize in a healthy society behaviors consistent with sloth, greed, lust, right? There's a reason that the deadly sins are outlined the way they are. They lead to outcomes incommensurate with positive goals. The reason the West is one of the powerhouses of the world is largely because we have the Judeo-Christian underpinnings in our society that exalt the individual, that say that there's no such thing as collective guilt, that we believe in innocence until the proof of guilt. These are ideas that communism and, anti-capitalism, anti-Western minds would throw out with the bathwater. One of the things that I've found in my life, and that is one of the kind of seminal thesis ideas of this channel, is that it's only through demanding a higher standard of myself that I found the ability to improve my life. It was not through blaming others. It was not through self-righteousness. It was not through expecting the external environment to change that my life got on the right path. It's through my own behavior, working on my physical fitness, taking serious my mental health, protecting and fostering my emotional stability, exploring my spirituality to find satisfaction, and working my butt off to save money to find financial independence. The answers you seek in the troubles of the world are to be found inside your own capacity to make decisions, to affect your behavior, to then affect the world around you. And there's just no short-circuiting that. There's no way to force the world to your will that does that, outside of demanding righteousness, kindness, strength of character, moral behavior of yourself. There's no way to demand the external environment cater to oneself outside of those things that doesn't result in terrible outcomes for everybody involved. Like, you tell a young person that's never had a job, yeah, hey, we should reorganize society, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. And that sounds great, except it has no place in its theoretical framework for the existence of evil. And anyone who has taken an honest look inside of themselves realizes that the line between good and evil is across every person's heart. And we all have the capacity to hate and hurt. And the only place that we can effectuate change is to focus on our own behavior. Because that's where it starts in the individual. The glorious revolution towards a positive outcome in the world around us. And that's a hard sell, but it's true. And it's like one of the things that allowed Jordan Peterson to become so popular. He told young men, clean up your room, tell the truth, demand a higher standard of behavior from yourself and watch your life get better. That's the truth. There's no way around that. You don't get to lie, cheat, and steal your way to a better future. You just don't. And I think that the atheist, materialist, reductionist West would try to poison you into believing that it's possible to end up at a positive future by taking shortcuts, by seeking to correct the behavior of others. Fool's errand. Focus on yourself. Things will get better. Thank you for watching. Love you guys.